So this is Jay Savage's Practical Team 2. So we're going to start off with the rules and regulations of basketball. So first of all we have the facilities. The dimensions of the court, so the length is 28.65 metres and the width of the court is 15.24 metres, and the hoop height must be 3.05 metres, which is equivalent to 10 feet. And most modern courts use a sprung wooden floor, so this helps the players get height when they go to jump up to the hoop. Moving on to the equipment, so we have a basketball. This is NBA, an official NBA ball, as it has the NBA written onto it, so it shows it's approved by the NBA. The circumference for men in the NBA is between 29.5 to 30 inches, and the PSI so the pressure inside the ball needs to be between 7.5 to 8.5 pounds. Next we move on to shoes. These shoes aren't mandatory, however professionals wear them as it offers them more stability and protection around the ankle and provides more grip on the court surface, and therefore reduces the chance and risk of injury. So there are a few different types of shoes. You have high tops, mid tops and low tops. High tops provide the best ankle support but are the heaviest, so therefore they decrease the athlete's acceleration needed in fast break situations. Next we have mid tops. They stop at ankle level and give players leverage, so it adds leverage. However, it gives less protection and stability than high tops. And finally we have low tops that just stop under the ankle, like most trainers. They provide the least amount of support but allows players to accelerate rapidly during fast break situations. Next we have the hoop. This should consist of a pressure release NBA approved metal ring measuring 18 inches in diameter and a white cord net 15 to 18 inches in length, and the hoop should be painted orange and should be 10 feet from the floor. Next we have the backboard. This should be a rectangle measuring 6 feet horizontally and 3.5 feet in height. The backboard is marked with 2-inch white rectangle that is centered behind the ring. The outer dimensions of the rectangle are 24 inches wide by 18 inches vertically, and the backboard should be made of transparent material. Next you have the electric light. This is there should be at least one electric light to be placed behind the backboard, obvious to officials and synchronized to light up when the horn sounds after a quarter. The light must be red. And finally we have the clock. The clock should be equipped to show tenths of a second during the last minute of each period. So, some rules. Each team can have a maximum and minimum of 5 players on the court at all times. They must have their vest tucked in. This stops the opposition being able to grab onto their vest. The captain. The team must assign a captain for the game whether they are playing constantly or if they are sat on the bench the whole game. And this just helps the officials, and the captain is the only one who can question an official's call and ask about sort of subbing on and off. If the captain is absent from the court or bench, the coach will immediately assign a new captain to keep the flow of the game going. The game officials shall consist of a chief and 2 referees. They will be assisted by an official scorer and 2 trained timers. One timer will operate the game clock and the other will operate the 24-second clock. Officials also have the responsibility of inspecting all equipment used in the game, and they have to check that players aren't wearing any jewellery or accessories to their face, arms, neck, ear, nose and hands. And officials must speak to captains of both teams prior to the game to ensure that everyone understands the rules and sort of the format of the game. Scoring. So on the court you have different lines. Outside the 3-point line, a successful shot equals 3 points. Then a successful shot inside the 3-point line equals 2 points, and a successful free throw equals 1 point. The timings of the games. NBA games are 4 periods of 12 minutes. Once the ball is turned over to the other team, the team has then 24 seconds to make a shot that hits the rim. 8 seconds to get the ball out of their half, and they can only have the ball for 3 seconds within the key. If the ball goes out of court during a free throw, the clock is stopped. So next we move on to volleyball. So volleyball. The facilities of volleyball, the court is a rectangle measuring 60 feet in length by 30 feet wide, and there should be a free zone which is close to 10 feet around the whole court. The free playing space, this is the space above the playing area and should be free from obstructions and should have a minimum height of 7 metres. Playing surface, well, because you can have indoor volleyball and outdoor volleyball. Indoor, it needs to be a flat, horizontal and uniform surface, presenting no danger to players, so it's not slippy or rough surfaces. And the floor needs to be light in colour, and so does the lighting, so you can't have like dark orange lighting. If you're playing beach volleyball, you need to allow a slope of 5mm per metre for drainage, and court lines should not be made out of a solid material as it could damage the player. Equipment. So the posts and poles that the net attaches onto should be 8 foot and 4 inches tall. The net should be 39 inches tall and 32 feet in length. The height is 7 feet 11 inches for men and 7 feet 4 inches for women. The volleyball, it should have a circumference between 65 and 67 centimetres and it should be made out of a leather or synthetic leather. And the pressure within inside the ball needs to be between 4.26 to 4.61 psi. Shoes should be made with a light and pliable material with a rubber or composite sole, but these aren't mandatory. Scoring, so here you can see a scoring clock. The modern method of scoring in volleyball is by rallies, so when one team wins a rally they receive a point, depending on the competition level. Most matches are played to 25 points and the best of either 3 or 5 matches. Teams must win by 2 clear points, so say the score is 19 all and it's first to 21, then the first team to get to 21 wins, but if the score is 20 all, then it would be the first team to get to 22 while the other stays on 20. So officials, here you can see some official uniforms, and all officials must wear this when umpiring or refereeing a game, just so they can be identified easily. Next we'll go on to some violations of rules. So we'll start off with basketball. So here you can see the guy in green is doing a travel, and this is because he's got hold of the ball and has stopped and then started moving again. So this should be called by an official, and the ball will get turned over to the other team and they will take a throw. So now we have carrying. So this is Kobe Bryant. So if you see carefully, he gets the ball, bounces it again. But look at his hand, it goes underneath the ball and sort of cradles the ball. This again should have been identified by an official and the ball would have got turned over to the other team. Next we have a double dribble. So here the guy in the white, he stops and then he takes off again. Again, this should have been identified by an official, but this time was missed. And if this happens, the ball again should get turned over to the other team, or they should take a free throw. Next is a held ball. So shown here, just after a jump, the guy in red just coming in now, he takes the ball and then kind of brings it into his body. So this is an unfair advantage against the other team, as they cannot have sort of the fairer access to the ball, and this should result in a turnover to the other team where they can take a sideline ball. Right, that's basketball. Next we have volleyball. So volleyball, we're going to start off with a serving foot fault. So you'll see that the server is about to come in and her foot goes over the line when she is serving. In this case, a point would be awarded to the other team, as you can see, and then the other team will get the serve. Next we have a serving error. So this is where the ball doesn't end up in the court. So so the other team can leave it. So here we go. So here comes the server, and the ball does not stay within the court parameters, as it were. This would result in the opposition winning a point and then winning the serve. Next, we have net violation. So now it will show the spiker touches the net. This is a tricky rule because if it did not interfere with the play, then they would carry on and see which team wins the point. However, if it did, if the player how to explain it? It messed with the play, so it made an unfair advantage. Then they would call stop, and the ball would get turned over to the other team. Finally, we have the antenna. So I don't know if you can see just here where the cursor is. There's a white antenna. Number 11 just hit the ball and it hit the antenna. This results in the ball getting turned over to the other team and them winning a point.